Now, I know I keep on boring you guys by saying I love history and history is interesting. But bear with me because there's something really explosive that has just happened. Okay? And I'm sure most of you caught it. You know, closing remarks of Fred Ngatia? Anyway, let me start at the beginning. Now, I mention history because I've always said that the 2017 elections are a carbon copy of the 2007 elections. Okay? Now, if we can just do a quick recap. We have seen what has happened. Okay? There has been violence, although the violence has been different this time, same as in 2007. Thank God, or fortunately this time it has been very different because most of the violence has come from the security forces, yeah, rather than people, one tribe fighting another, and that's good. Okay, I mean it's good that a tribe did not fight against another tribe, yeah, meaning that Kenyans have matured up to a certain extent, and actually credit has to be given to the Kenyan people because there was massive provocation for Kenyans to fight one another. It didn't happen, okay, and that's great. We thank God for that. Okay, now what I want to zero in on, after those elections and after the negotiations, we had what Kenyans had never seen before, a government of national unity, yeah, a coalition government, okay, whereby we had both the opposition and government, the opposition and the PNU, yeah, who supposedly won the election. That's a long story. Yeah, we had PNU and ODM form a government of national unity. Now, let's fast forward to the current situation. The president's lawyer, Fred Ngatia, in his closing remarks, made an explosive revelation, a statement that I'm glad a lot of Kenyans caught. Yeah, I keep on telling you, Kenyans are extremely smart people. Yeah, he made the revelation that instead of he advised the Supreme Court judges, instead of calling for a rerun, yeah, my client, the president, has promised that he will form an all-inclusive government. In other words, a government that will include the petitioner. Are we together? Yeah. Now, doesn't that sound very, very, very familiar to you? Doesn't that sound to you very much like a coalition government of some sort? Now, this is very interesting because we all know that during the campaigns, the Jubilee side kept on saying, "Hakuna Nusu Mkate this time," talking to NASA people. Yes, and they kept on emphasizing that. But then now it seems the proposal for Nusu Mkate is coming from Jubilee. Wow. That means a few things have changed. Despite everything else, a few things have changed. Okay? Actually, a lot of things have changed. And in this recording, I want to analyze those things that have changed purely from a political point of view. Even as we wait for the verdict from the Supreme Court judges, I want to analyze what has changed politically, because a lot has changed politically, so that we understand going forward, whatever the judgment of the Supreme Court is, what we can expect from our dear country, or what we can expect to happen going forward. Now, first of all, how did we get to where we are? That's important to answer that question first. How did we get from a Jubilee party, very confident and saying no Nusu Mkate, to a Jubilee government that is now saying we are ready to form an all-inclusive government? How did we get there? Okay. Now, I've been saying this for a very long time. Towards the end of last year, the president's advice or the president's main advisors changed dramatically, and in my view they changed for the worse. Okay, it was around that time that the influence of Deputy President William Ruto reduced dramatically. Okay, we all know that. Now, the people who came in, I'm afraid to say, I mean it's not afraid to say, the people who came in, unfortunately, yeah, must have been people from the older generation, people practicing 70s and 80s thinking and techniques and so on and so forth. Okay? And these advisors to the president have messed up his legacy. Okay? And I believe Jubilee supporters should be the first to stand up, because the crazy thing about Jubilee supporters is that you are ready to support your party, but you support your party without any substance. What do I mean? If I support a party like Jubilee, I should be concerned with what's going on within the party. And I should be able to stand up as a Jubilee supporter and say, I'm a Jubilee supporter, but Mr. President, you need to correct this and this and this. This is wrong. We have not had that from Jubilee. Jubilee supporters are like robots. Yeah, isn't that true? The time has come for Jubilee supporters to stand up, because if you really love Uhuru Kenyatta as your candidate, you need to stand up and defend your candidate and say, hey, you guys are messing Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. Because President Uhuru Kenyatta came in with a very nice, clean record. Okay, he served his first 3 years as, you know, he was, people saw Uhuru as a good president generally. Okay, whatever weaknesses, whatever corruption, the image people had of President Uhuru Kenyatta has changed dramatically in a matter of a few weeks. And for what? No freedom of speech, people in social media being arrested left, right and center, you know, dissenting voices being silenced here and there, a police state. For what? You see, because you see, in politics, it is impossible to go against the will of the majority of the people. It is impossible. That cannot be done. Even in a dictatorship, you cannot go against the will of the majority of the people. It is impossible. And history has proved this impossible. Because you cannot kill the whole population so that you get your way. Okay? So at some point, you have to get enough political clout and support to be able to continue to rule. Okay? Now what has happened is that these old people, first of all, gave him a game plan that was impossible. It was dead in the water. Okay? I'll not go into that because this will touch on the Supreme Court ruling, which I don't want to do or say. I don't want to say anything about that until after we get a ruling. Okay? I don't want to go in contempt of the highest court in our land. Okay? So I'll just leave it at that. But just passing over it, this old man came up with a plan that was dead in the water before it even started. And if you want evidence that that plan was dead in the water, that evidence is in the remarks lawyer Fred Ngatia made at the Supreme Court in the hearing of everybody, where he said this client will form an inclusive government. Yeah, and of course, that is obvious. He was referring also to the petitioner's side that they will come in and form a government. Okay? Now I can see I've already run out of my time, mid-sentence, mid-point, but no worries. You know the usual drill. Click on the link on the top left-hand side of the screen and you'll be on to part 2. This is Chris Kumekucha.